Calling to order the 38th regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear God, please bless our meeting today. May our discussions be fruitful, our decisions wise, and our community strong. Amen. Amen. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Here.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here.
Commissioner Pletchnik.
Present. We have before us the minutes from the regular meetings of August 29, September 5th, September 10th, all of 2024. Do I have a motion to approve waiving reading of the same?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletchnik.
Yes. Next, we have public comment. Any member of the public wishing to address the Board of Commissioners, please step forward, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. Bishop.
Bishop Gerard Mabel, 1049 Brentwood, Pennsville, Ohio. First, I'd like to say thank you to the Board of Lake County Commissioners for the certificate of recognition for Jacqueline Lady Mabel posthumously. It's a blessing. July 28th, 1983, we got married. November the 5th, 1983, I came here, 41 years. It's a blessing. John Hammercheck, thank you so much. Commissioner Richard Wigovich, Commissioner, thank you so much. John T. Pletchnik, thank you so much for this. That's the first Commissioner certificate Lady Bishop received, which is a posthumously, and I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful myself and my family. Also, I'm here also to say thank you to the Paul Chaplain Peacekeeper that have chosen me today, this year to be working with this great organization, this great country, and I will be presenting Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin. So that requires a lot of prayer so we can stay peaceful. Also, I'd like to invite Lake County and Northeast Ohio to be represented. Practically everyone could not make it to the Freedom Fund banquet because if it is, La Malfa will be too small, but the representation is very good. So if anyone is interested, the Freedom Fund banquet is going to be October the 19th at 6 p.m. at La Malfa. So what we do, and I'm so pleased, a young man by the name of Ron Colvin did invite me to come to the NNSCP, and at that time when I first came, and since I came, I've been helping this organization to send young people to college. That's exactly what it is. When you attend, when you have a chance to participate, you are helping young people to go to college. I'm looking at my time. Thank you, family. Thank you for everyone that the good Lord bless to be with me that Saturday that I could not be by myself with Lady Bishop. Thanks a million, everybody. Thank you.
Most welcome. Thank you. Anyone else for public portion? Anyone else?
Chris Bayer, 185 West Jackson. Yeah, with the upcoming weather coming, we have hurricane down in Florida and Georgia, and supposedly it was supposed to head for us so that we can be relieved and have rain. But all of a sudden they're saying that when it hits the Ohio River, it's going to make a left turn. Well, let's pray that there is no left turn put up so that all of Ohio can receive a good amount of rain. So I have a moment of silence for all the areas in Ohio, especially our Lake County and other areas that are lacking in rain, and that we can receive God's blessing with this rain. Let us be quiet. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion?
Matthew Heberbrand, 403 Heisley Park Lane. I'm grateful that the Ohio Attorney General released its letter from a couple years ago confirming that the investigation into the May 4th, 2021 alleged hack was closed, but unfortunately that letter raises more questions than it answers. We know that that investigation has been closed and that the Ohio Attorney General didn't have enough evidence to bring forward any case, but we still don't have any answers. And I want to be clear, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm trying to get the answers, and if there's any frustration that comes forth, it's because I, like many of our fellow citizens, are frustrated at politicians at all level of government who make promises to give answers and never give them, when there are crimes that are investigated, but then charges are never brought and we never get an answer to what happened. And in this case, in November of 2021, at one of these meetings, Commissioner Hamercheck promised to give us the answers. And it is right here.
Sure, investigating. I think it's vitally important to get the facts right and to report accurate information. As soon as we are finished gathering and verifying the appropriate materials, I'll share the information with the residents of Lake County and any elected official or agency interested and the news media.
Those are your words, Commissioner Hamercheck. You promised to answer the questions. So please, answer the questions. Why was your badge used the night of May 4th, 2021? Who had it? You never reported it lost or stolen. You used it the day before. You used it the day after. Who had it? Why was it used that day? What happened that evening? And Commissioners Rogovich, Commissioners Plechnik, if Commissioner Hamercheck refuses to answer those questions, again, you guys act together as a board. You are jointly responsible for maintaining the integrity of this building, of this property. I'm asking you to ask him and to take some action to ensure to our voters, voting starts in 1 week. People on both sides of the aisle do not trust each other, do not trust our elected officials, are worried that our elections aren't going to be reported properly. They need to know going into this election that our election system is secure and that no one will be trying to change our election results for either side. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion? Anyone else?
Gilda Spencer, 5580 Ford Road, Madison, Ohio, 44057. Good morning. I'm in celebrating. We have culverts. And maybe that's not a big deal to you guys, but it's a big deal to us. So I did talk to the engineer this week, and we're still on schedule. We should be finished by January, maybe, because they have a lot still to do, even though the culverts are there. So if you see people celebrating on Ford Road out by the bridge, that's why. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion? Anyone else?
Chris West Leroy. Missed you last week, Boss Plechnik. Had to go to the place they used to call Fort Benning to witness my 18-year-old son graduate from infantry basic. I did stop at this little town in North Carolina on the way home. Picked up another thumb drive. Seems like people there have a lot to say. Mr. Heberbrand mentioned people don't trust our elected officials. Well, let me put this forth as one of the reasons why they shouldn't. This is a conversation with you directing Rodney Shelton and how to pull the wool over the other two commissioners' eyes and get $30,000 to fund your dog commercial campaign.
I can give you the broad brush. As soon as I can pull it up on my phone, I'll give you the more exact. Okay. Is that okay? Absolutely. So, you know, what I don't want to have like a long discussion section about, you know, you and me talking about it. I just want to make it matter of fact, and I can tell you, I already know the commissioners will be supportive of it, so we don't need to have a long justification in it. Okay. But basically, you're going to say mostly what you're saying, but just matter of factly. You know, the dog warden's office believes that, you know, a stronger start to the ad this time would be beneficial because it's a new ad. Here are the numbers we propose. Done. And I think we'll be able to turn that around very quickly. Okay. Okay. Very.
That's what you had to say in 2022. Now let's listen to what you had to say in 2024, when it looked like it might cause problems for you.
So I just want to make sure if I end up being cornered and I have to interview with them, that I am, you know, as prepared as I can be. And I want to say to you my best recollection of the situation so that, you know, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. I don't want to say anything dishonest to anybody. This is 2 years ago, though, so, you know, my best recollection is I met with you like I did many other department heads. I asked about your projects that you're doing. The issue of the ads came up. There hasn't been a new one in a long time. You said that you're probably going to do a new one at some point. You know, I mentioned I was the only commissioner with a dog. And you said, you know, how would you and your dog like to be in the commercial? I said yes. And, you know, ultimately, the commissioners all approved it. The auditor approved it. The prosecutor says that it's totally legal. I mean, that's what I intend to say if I have to say anything, although I prefer to say no.
Why would you prefer to say nothing? What are you hiding? It's pretty clear that you're trying to direct Rodney Shelton in 2022 to do what you want, and then in 2024 you want to put words in his mouth as to what he's to say to cover for the fact. In fact, in that conversation, you went over that same discussion 6 times, trying to put words in his mouth. That seems like you're trying to influence a potential
Thank you,
witness
Mr.
in a criminal
Weiss.
investigation.
Thank you so much,
We'll see you
Mr.
next
Weiss.
week, boss.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Anyone else for public portion?
Brian Kolkowski, Leroy, Ohio. Last week at the commissioners' meeting, the use of Mr. Hamercheck's key card to provide access to a computer port in the Lake County servers was called by implication fake news. Mr. Hamercheck's key card was used on May 4th, election night, on a number of times, and a non-county computer was provided access to a computer port in the Lake County servers from these secured locations. The Ohio Attorney General's Special Prosecutions Branch declined to prosecute, but this time it is not clear why this was done. A public records request was made to the Ohio Attorney General, and at this time I have been informed they are gathering and reviewing the documents to meet this request. The computer that was used to access the Lake County servers is likely the computer that was used to illegally access government servers in Mesa, Colorado. A government official was convicted of 7 felonies in August of this year related to crimes that were committed related to access that was provided in Colorado. Are these coincidental? Possibly, but data from this access to the Lake County servers were presented at the cyber conference in Michigan, along with the data obtained in Mesa, Colorado. The question we need to ask is, what are the differences? Mr. Hamercheck publicly promised to provide an explanation almost 3 years ago. Perhaps he forgot. Nothing takes away from the fact that someone with access to Mr. Hamercheck's key card may have provided access to the local Lake County servers on May 4th. Mr. Hamercheck, as commissioner, operates on a board and has no individual powers unless that board has given him those powers. As such, any use of the Lake County servers would at a minimum raise ethics questions as to the improper use of public property. There were further questions raised. as to whether other Lake County elected officials were involved. Are they willing to come forward? Again, I hope Mr. Hamercheck reconsiders his unwillingness to provide the public with a reasonable response about what he knows, as he promised almost 3 years ago. We as Republicans cannot question issues of election integrity unless we are transparent about our own actions in elected office. Again, I ask Mr. Hamercheck, when will you tell the public honestly of all the details you were aware of related to this incident, and hopefully allow the public to ask questions to you in response? Eventually, through public records, we will hopefully learn. You can save everyone time by honestly explaining all the details you are aware of. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion? Anyone else? Hearing none, we will move to resolutions. Madam Clerk.
In the Utilities Department, resolution accepting a 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $31,100.60 for sanitary sewers for the Brookview Reserve Phase 3 subdivision in the city of Mentor, job number 22-12.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations and transferring cash within Lake County Department of Utilities Water Fund and Project Fund 595, East 315th Street, lead service line replacements, Project 486S, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. President, I don't know, Randy, if you want to comment about the lead?
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner. I've talked over the last couple of months about the new lead laws and the fact that this week and over the next month we'll be sending out letters to all of our customers that we are unsure of what their service line connection is, whether we know it's lead or we don't know. And they'll all be receiving those letters beginning this week and then through the next couple of months. In that, there's instructions on how to check your own line, and we like those reported if possible through a survey so we can start updating our database. But most of our system was put in long before we took over the water system. The City of Cleveland or the individual cities owned and operated the water system prior to 1985. This project is in conjunction with those new lead laws where we are required to remove lead service lines that are known. So we did find one lead service line on the street. We're making the assumption that they all are. So this project will move forward over the next 6 months or so to remove all those lead service lines so we can update our database on those. And then this type of project would continue on an annual basis throughout the system.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Commissioner.
Randy, do you choose the house or the area by the age of the house? Is that?
Yes, essentially that's a big part of it. One of the items that we choose as far as prioritizing these projects. Also, just when we do have repairs here and there, and then we note that there was a lead service line, then we know that it's likely that the other service lines on that street are probably lead. So that's part of that prioritizing is the age when they were constructed and then what we know.
I just know that street pretty well, and it's all those old cottages that were lakefront cottages.
Yeah, pretty much pre-1953 or so is when they were used lead service connection.
Very good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletchnik.
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash from Lake County Department of Utilities, Project Fund 596, Project 364S, Glyco 2 force main replacement to the sewer fund. The project is complete. Remaining cash from project fund is transferred to the sewer fund.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletchnik.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of an engineering agreement with CT Consultants Incorporated for the Center Road Pump Station and Force Main Replacement Project 485S 2024 for the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Abstain.
Commissioner Hamercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletchnik.
Yes.
And Job and Family Services Department, resolution authorizing execution of an agreement between Project Hope and the Lake County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Lake County Department of Job and Family Services to provide homeless prevention services to eligible TANF recipients in an amount not to exceed $173,400 $483.50, effective October 1st, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
And the Commissioner's Office resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the Lake County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Commissioner?
Brian Massey was not able to join us here today, but he did ask me to continue some of the conversation on this subject. Budget Commission, what their actual role is, what their authority is. I know that, again, as I like to say, giving credit where credit is due, our auditor, Chris Galloway, working with his Auditors Association and clarifying language within the revised code as to what a Budget Commission's responsibilities and authorities are. And some of the questions that are outstanding have to do with accumulation of funds. You know, at what point is too much money too much money? So those are ongoing concerns, the whole taxing issue associated with that. We've heard it talked about before, but Mr. Massey did want to have that entered into the discussion at this time. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
And the Finance Department resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $5,294,530.15.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $2,175,963.96.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes. With the conclusion of resolutions, it's time for departmental reports, starting with utilities.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're excited to be hosting an open house at our solid waste landfill this Saturday from 10 to 2 o'clock. It's at 1981 Blaze Nemeth Road, and there'll be tours of the landfill, working face, the touch-a-truck for kids to see some of the vehicles that are used to construct the landfill, and also some educational and some other kid activities. So it's going to be an exciting day, I think. It looks like the weather's going to hold out for us, and it's from 10 to 2 on this Saturday.
Very good. Job and Family Services.
No report today, thank you.
Thank you. Our County Administrator, Jason Boyd.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. A couple quick updates regarding the Public Safety Center project. If you take a quick drive down Erie Street across from the current jail, you will see that the demolition process is well underway. I believe the third building should be down today or tomorrow, and obviously there'll be another handful of days where they get rid of the debris and do some just rough grading and get the site ready for ultimate construction. As you turn the corner on St. Clair, there's a handful of other structures that we've acquired the past few years that are slated for demolition later October, hopefully November, working with the land bank. The first three are a 50-50 cost share, if you recall. We passed that resolution, probably a year ago. The other, the county will be paying for with the land bank, trying to get additional grants, but using the land bank's ability to bid and contract and manage these projects is better suited versus the county. They're experts in that, so we're partnering with John Rogers and the land bank. I want to thank him for that. Secondly, I just want to, a brief update. Tuesday we had our Perry plant evaluated exercise. So I want to thank the commissioners and all of the department heads who participate in that very intense FEMA regulated drill, if you will, where simulated situations occur at the Perry plant. As I stare out the window and look at the towers, there's probably well over 100 individuals who participate in this. Thanks to Director Joe Busher, Executive or Deputy Director hum, the sheriff, etc., on what I viewed as a very successful exercise. Joe will get a more official report in the coming weeks after FEMA has a chance to review the results. Just to give the folks a little bit of insight, regardless of your position in a drill, you have folks over your shoulder with a clipboard just kind of watching you do everything that you're required to do during the day and taking notes. So it's pretty intense. We do a dry run a month before, and then periodic trainings leading up to the dry run. So all in all, and I'll defer to anyone else, I thought it went well on my end. I ultimately get dispatched to what's known as the Joint Information Center at Auburn Career Center to handle any media inquiries. That information comes from the executive room, which is the director, the commissioners, and the sheriff. That's pushed to our public information office, which Joel and Matt Armand and Patrick Stitz and Summer help out with, and ultimately gets distributed to the media center. And the goal of that is to maintain media relations in a controlled point. At that particular facility, they have what's called mock media, where myself, 3 representatives from the other counties, the state of Ohio, and the Perry plant have spokesmen to try and keep the public abreast of the situations that are played out during these drill exercises. So I'm sure we can have Mr. Busher in here at a later date when we get the results, but all in all, initial feedback looks pretty darn good for Lake County. Thank you.
Very, very good. Madam Clerk.
The next commissioner meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 3rd at 10 a.m.
And legal.
No reports, Commissioner.
With the conclusion of departmental reports, it's time for old business. Any old business to come before the commission? Any old business?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Commissioner.
And if I may say for the record, Mr. Heberbrand, you seem to have a problem with the plain meaning of words. Time and time again, I have stated nothing has come from this because there was nothing to this. It's that simple. I have had to endure claims of conspiracies involving prosecutors, sheriff, Ohio Attorney General, Ohio Secretary of State, federal agencies, and apparently even the Department of Defense, because nobody can find any records associated with this tying to me. The Ohio Attorney General's letter is the answer. And I have personally said on numerous occasions, as a prosecutor, if you believe a crime has been committed, you have a duty to report it to proper legal authorities. I've also reminded you, as an attorney admitted to practice law, you also understand that filing a false report with legal authorities is in and of itself a crime. Your continuous beating of the dead horse because you are unsatisfied with the reality of the situation is not going to change the facts before us. You bring up the word integrity. I am compelled, as an elected official, to accept a higher standard of these are the things I have to put up with. But I do have over 232,000 constituents that have a right to know that their interests are being protected. And job applications for employment with the county are a public record. And you, sir, have submitted what on paper I'm sure is a well-qualified application for the new mediator's position at our juvenile court. A position of trust. A position where lives will be affected. Everything from financial to having the power and authority to take someone's child or children away from them. Only the highest degree of integrity should be considered. You come to these meetings and say, you're not accusing anybody of anything. Yet again, as I will qualify this statement, your words, not mine, numerous times you have stated that I am tied to the greatest unsolved crime in the history of Lake County. Again, sir, your words, not mine. I'm sure you're familiar with the Ohio Prosecuting Attorney's fall training classes September 19th and September 20th at the Crown Plaza, Cleveland, Playhouse Square. You have a healthy fascination with my accounting for my time. Perhaps, sir, you should account for your own. How you could be in two places at the same time, beyond me. Unless, of course, you're utilizing quantum entanglement, but let's not get into that. You've got enough entanglements. The people of Ashtabula County paid for you to be at this training class, continuing legal education. Mr. Heberbrand, it pains me to have to even say these things. But the reality is, in order to receive these credits, attorneys must complete the mandatory evaluation and participate in the activity. It is my understanding that these evaluation documents and the requests for credit are a public record. You might want to do some housekeeping. I pray, and I mean this very sincerely, that you can manage this. On the second day, there was the professional code of conduct topic. Perhaps as an olive branch, I'll print a copy off and share it with you. My only request is this time you actually read it. Mr. President, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I would just say for my colleagues' benefit that I'm deeply concerned that threatening a job applicant could put the county at risk. So going forward, I would advise my fellow commissioners that we should consider how we treat our employees, our prospective employees, in addition to the general courtesy that we should show to all residents who come to these meetings. I understand that these can be very difficult topics, but nonetheless, we need to put the county first because, as Commissioner Hamercheck rightly says, we are elected officials, and so our personal feelings need to come second to being fiduciaries to the county. I would start by saying we are deeply grateful that Bishop Maribel is here with us today. I know it must not be easy to make any public appearances after your great loss. Even though I know your faith in God has given you great comfort, it is nonetheless the most difficult thing in life to lose someone who you care about so deeply. And I was very blessed to be able to attend the celebration of life for your beautiful wife. And I have the same faith that you do, that she is looking down on us from heaven. But that doesn't make that any easier for those who loved her here on earth, especially the one she loved the most. Yes. So we thank you for being with us today, and you remain in my thoughts and prayers. I know that, once again, these meetings are difficult, but we're called by the people to acquit ourselves well. And attacking those who attack us, repaying evil with evil, is not the way. I have heard from one of my constituents, two of my constituents today, that they want an answer to a very simple question. One of the commissioner's badges was used to access our offices on the night of an election. And that particular commissioner's badge was used to access that particular commissioner's office. And according to our IT department and all public reports, that computer was plugged into the data port in that same office. There are many people who are rightly concerned about this. They don't have to know or accuse someone of a crime being committed to be concerned that a foreign computer would be plugged in to a county office in the appearance of attempting to hack the Board of Elections. And I think we need to be respectful of those who are concerned. I think it is fair to say that a majority of Americans are concerned with election integrity today, and to poo-poo it as not important, I don't think that's fair to those who are asking legitimate questions. It's obviously up to individual commissioners to decide how they respond to the public. But I would remember, and I would hope that we would all remember, that we adopt rules for the commission every year. And even if members of the public may not follow those rules, the collegiality that we commit to is something that we should remember as we address members of the public.
You need to call Susan. Hi. Sorry, that was hospice calling, if anybody's wondering why I'm taking a phone call during this dissertation. Back to you, Professor. I'm sorry, President.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I'm just asking that we all try a little harder to show care and concern for one another, including the people with whom we disagree. It's very easy to take offense. It is harder to be respectful, and we are called as commissioners to be respectful of the public who join us. That doesn't mean we agree with them, and sometimes we are treated unfairly, but we should not respond with hatred. And we should recognize that members of the public are frustrated when questions have been asked for months and they have not been answered. In fairness, Mr. Hamercheck, you have made statements, and you've made the same statements every meeting, but you have never answered the question who used your ID badge to enter your office and plug a computer into your data port that is reportedly involved in crimes in Colorado. You've never answered the question of whether you were the person who used that badge, whether you provided your badge to someone else. It's up to you whether you answer that question, but it's gaslighting to say that you've answered the question when you simply have ignored it. And it's your prerogative to ignore it, and you may have good reason to. But in fairness to those asking the question, you have not answered it, sir. And I am deeply concerned that threatening members of the public, particularly those who have applied for a position, could put us in a point of liability in the future. I would hate for someone to sue the county feeling that they were not given a fair application and interview process because a political figure had a political issue with them. We need to treat everyone equally and respect their free speech right as they come before us, even if we strenuously disagree with it. The First Amendment only matters if we protect the speech we disagree with. Any further old business?
I trust, Mr. President, I can respond to your statements.
Yes, Mr. Commissioner.
So I will refer, because I'm a big timeline guy, back to in the beginning when Prosecutor Colson first brought this to the attention of this board. He used words to the effect of, "There is nothing to this." And his words were proven true. You are asking a response to defective questions from no substance that are nothing more. And as a law professor, and I believe you are admitted to practice law in the state of New York, you are exceptionally schooled into the nuances of law. You are asking, and others are asking, questions that arise from a false premise. You are asking that a negative be proven. You are masterful at debate, and I
Mr.
will
Commissioner,
yield to that.
I must interject. It is a factual question who used your ID badge to enter your office and plug a laptop into your office's data port. That is a factual question, and you might say it is meaningless, it has nothing to do with any crime having been committed. Fair enough. You've nonetheless been asked a factual question. And while you may view that question as meaningless or defective, it is a question of fact who used your ID badge multiple times to enter and exit your office that night. And many, from the Washington Post to law enforcement, have asked many questions about this issue. So to say that it is insignificant, it strains credulity to most. But once again, it is your opinion, and you're entitled to it, sir. I would simply say, you've been asked a factual question, even if you might deem it to be meaningless, defective, unimportant, fair enough, then it should be nothing for you to answer it and satisfy the public's curiosity so this board can move past that controversy. But it's up to you whether or not to answer the question. I just think it is fundamentally unfair to personally attack members of the public who are asking you a factual question. If it's so unimportant, just answer their question and move on. And if you choose not to, fair enough, but don't pretend that you have or use faux outrage to that effect. It may or may not be an important answer from your perspective, but obviously it's important to members of the public who are asking you this question every meeting. So in fairness to them and in fairness to honesty, it doesn't matter if you think the question is significant. It is a factual question, sir.
Of all the words you used, you only used one correctly, and that being defective. Your belief is not required for something to be true. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Any new business to come before the board?
Mr. President,
Mr. Commissioner.
I would like to also thank all those that participated in the drill on Tuesday. That was my first time through. Very impressive. All the people that have to come together. Thank goodness it's only a drill. We've never had to do it live. Everyone took their role seriously, and anywhere from volunteers all the way up to the sheriff. Even the sheriff took his role seriously. He only had a few jokes that day, but it was a very, very humbling experience, and I'm glad that we do test for that. I'd also like to, I attended Saturday. Miracle League has created a wall in honor of Mayor Morley, but those names on the wall of people that we've lost at the Miracle League, who have been a big portion since it's opened. We all know that was a very, very important piece, an important project that for Mayor Morley, when that went in, it was his passion. And so it was befitting that the wall's over in the quiet zone in left field. So if you're up there, take a look at it. And it's amazing how many names are on the wall already, those that we lost along the way. So it was a great day to have it. The weather was good. And to watch a little bit of baseball after that was a bonus. So
I know that Mayor Morley is smiling from heaven. That Miracle League meant the world to him, and I know he was your dear friend, so I'm grateful you were able to be part of that ceremony. Any further new business to come before the board? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second, sir.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bregovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletchnik.
Yes, we stand adjourned.